Hi, I'm Greg Quill, and we're in the studio talking with Sherry Kean about her new mini LP, Mixed Emotions, and about her career. Sherry was, of course, lead singer for a while in the Sharks, one of Toronto's most popular new groups for a while. And when the Sharks split up, she and husband, guitarist David Baxter, moved to New York, more or less on a whim, I gather.
Well, yeah, we went to New York for a weekend, and while we were there, we just really fell in love with it and decided that we wanted to stay there for a while.
So you just rented a place and stayed on?
Yeah, we got an apartment that weekend, and we went back and got all our belongings and my son and our dog, and went to New York.
Is there anything about New York particularly that endeared you to the place, or the place to you?
Yeah, there was a certain energy. Definitely, there's a certain energy in New York that's if you're a person that's involved in the arts, you find it easy to work there, and there's a lot of people who are doing the same thing you're doing, so you can really find a lot of teaching facilities. I studied dance and I studied vocal training when I was in New York.
And you were there for 10 months, I believe.
Yes.
And in that time you met up with a number of producers, and finally with Mike Thorne, who ended up producing Mixed Emotions. How did you actually make the connection with Mike?
Well, yes, we were talking to a lot of other producers, and they were all good, but none of them really, like David or I just didn't really feel comfortable with any of them until we met Mike, and then we knew as soon as we met him, we both, sort of looked at each other and said, okay, that's the one, let's go make the music.
What was it about him that appealed to you?
I guess what was that he was the most like us. He was seemed to me to be a young modern person, and he wasn't into going into the studio and staying there 24 hours and getting really burnt out and doing drugs and carrying on this sort of rock and roll lifestyle. He wasn't into that at all, and we're not into that, so it was it worked out really well for us.
In what ways do you feel he contributed to the songs?
Well, he's got really good ears. That's the main thing about Mike, is he's got great ears, and he allowed us to be ourselves.
Uh-huh. And of course you used New York session players on the album, and he had a hand in selecting them, but I believe you actually went out and saw some of them yourselves.
Yeah, Fernando Sanders was playing with Lou Reed, and we went and saw him, so we hired him, and then he brought the drummer to us. Mm-hmm. And then we went to see Missing Persons, and a band opened for them called the Ray Beats, and as soon as we saw Pat Irwin, who's a guitar player and a keyboard player and a saxophone player, we spent the rest of the night finding him, and we hired him.
Mm-hmm. The work you did in dance and voice training in New York was actually you described it as a period of growth. Will it make much of a difference, do you think, now that you're planning to get back on the road?
Oh yeah, it's made a lot of difference. I really feel like my endurance is up a lot. It's it's a very physical thing being on stage, and you do get tired, and I like to have a lot of energy. I think the dancing and the vocals training has helped me be able to sing with and dance with the kind of energy that I want to, and be able to not get tired by the end of the set. Right.
Now the material on this album covers a fairly broad spectrum, but it all has a very good pop feel to it. A lot of references to old and new styles of music. What's your favorite song on the mini album?
My favorite song is I Want You Back.
Oh, that's mine too. It actually reminds me of, because it has a kind of percussive rhythm feel, it reminds me of something older, something very basic in rock and roll. Do you agree with that? Did you?
Yeah, I do agree with that, and it's always been one of our favorite songs to do live, and it also was our fans always requested that song, so it was fun for us to put it down, and I think it turned out the best.
Yeah, it's great. We mentioned earlier that the material on the album covers a wide range of styles, up to and including country music. There's quite a country element in Universe of Two.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. A lot of people give us a hard time about that, because it's either you are a country writer or you're not a country writer, and if that influence is in your music, you want to put it there, but that's not saying I want to go and play country music, you know, for the rest of my career. But it definitely is an influence that David Baxter and I both have.
And I believe there was a special slant to the lyrics of Universe of Two.
Universe of Two was written for Yoko Ono and John Lennon.
In what way? How did that come about? What were you trying to get at?
Well, I guess I was really thinking about them one day, and I was thinking about the fact that they were so close and they were so in love, even though, I mean, they were always saying we are a universe of two, and other people really doubted it and was really, you know, down on her for a while, and then down on him for his relationship with her, and I could imagine how hard it would be for them to stay that close to each other and go through that, and then as it ended up, they won.
You and David write the songs together. Does one write lyrics and one write music, or I mean?
No, we both collaborate.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I write the music and he writes the words, and the opposite. And sometimes we both totally collaborate.
Of course, now you've done all this work in New York, and Capitol has the album out. You've moved back to Ontario, to Burlington.
Yes, I bought a house in Burlington.
It's a long way from New York.
Yes, it is. I plan to go there as often as possible.
To New York?
Yes.
Of course, you'll be based here for a while, and I believe you have a band in rehearsal, and there are some tour plans. It's been some time since you've played. Are you looking forward to getting back on the road?
Oh yeah, I miss it. You know, that's the most thing I miss when I was away, and when I don't play, I really miss it. David does too. We both get really, you know, Friday night comes around, and you know, what do you want to do? Well, we want to play. It's what we really want to do.
Yeah.
We both really miss it.
You had a fairly solid following locally a couple of years ago. I wonder whether you have any contact with your fans still, now that you haven't been playing for a while.
I hope so. I mean, I hope they will stay supportive of me. It's a hard thing when you change, when you move on musically, and you dissolve a band, and they move on musically, and you move on musically. It's easy for the band members, and it's easy for you, and it's hard for the fans. I mean, they were used to seeing you with these certain people, and they liked your songs, they liked your music, and I think sometimes they're a little resentful when, you know, you have to move on. It takes them a while to come around, I guess.
Yeah. Talking about moving on, you have a little boy who's been through all this great turmoil in the last little while. He's been to New York for 10 months and back again, and I'm just wondering how he's adapted to all this.
Yeah, I think it's hard for Sergi. We're very close, and I know that he prefers to be with me, but it's a harder life for him because I go places where it's very adult-oriented. I mean, New York City is a very adult city. It's not set up for children in any way. I mean, you can't let your child go out unless you're with them. So for a child who likes to ride his bicycle around and be outside a lot, it's very hard for them. And also being, you know, having a band and being in the business that I'm in, it takes up a lot of my time and a lot of my energy. And sometimes Sergi just has to wait. Like when we were recording, he was with us. And sometimes he would come in and he'd go to ask me a question, and I'd have to tell him to be quiet. So he got to the point where every time he'd come in, he'd talk, he'd go, "Oh no, was it a take?" Like he just would be afraid as soon as he got in the studio that he was going to say something wrong. Yeah. But I know that he still prefers to go with me, and he's also very proud of me. Like if he's having a down time and I'll be talking to him, and I'll say, "Sergi, do you want me to stop? You know, would you like it better if I stopped?" He'd say, no, you know, like he likes to tell his friends that his mom, you know, is a singer, and you know, show him the album cover and things. Like he really likes that part of it, but he has to give a lot, and I think he has had to, and he's done a good job of it.
Now you've done so many things in your life. What is your main ambition?
I want to be a pop star. I mean, I want to have the chance to make the kind of music that I want to make, and I want to be able to play music in front of people, in front of large numbers of people.
A pop star?
Yes.
Great. That's fairly honest. Thank you very much.
Thank you.